as I've developed more self-trust and more connection to my body and the sensations in my body through embodiment work, the sooner that pain starts to come up and I feel it faster and I respond to it faster because I've been there before. I have practice in this. I know what happens when I stay for too long. I know what happens on the other side of making scary decisions, that everything works out and it's even better than I anticipate it would be. So you get better at it. I once had a woman on my podcast say, like, we get better at dying and being reborn.
If you make it mean like that it's never going to happen just because it hasn't happened yet, that's just so silly and not how things work. Change is inevitable. Growth is inevitable. Like, you can trust yourself and you have to be slow and gentle with yourself in that journey. Hello, everybody listening to this podcast from wherever you are listening to. Welcome. If you're listening on Vibin, this is the show where we help you to just live your best life, eliminate unnecessary suffering, align with the vibes, and have a fun, girly time. And if you're listening on the Feminine Frequency podcast, who Amy Natalie is joining us today. Amy, give everyone a little intro of your show.
Yeah. Hey, so grateful and excited to be collabing with you ladies. I can already tell that this is going to be a super fun and inspiring conversation and super insightful because I know that we all have our own magic and wisdom to bring here. So I'm Amy Natalie and the host of Feminine Frequency podcast, like you shared, and I support women in coming back home to their bodies, listening to their intuition, finding their own dance between their masculine and feminine energy, which we're going to be talking about today, and really creating a life that is in alignment with their truth and with their soul. So that's kind of a little bit about me. And I really love to support women in the realms of romantic relationships and then also in purpose and leadership.
So good. So good. And Lynnsey, who's also on the call with us.
Hi, guys.
Give yourself a little intro.
I'm here, guys. I'm Lynnsey, co-host of the Vibin podcast, and some of you may or may not know, I'm a hypnotherapist helping you align your conscious goals with your subconscious beliefs so that your whole mind is working toward pretty much everything that we are going to talk about today. So deeper connection to yourself, living your best life, manifesting your goals, and just feeling peace, joy, grace, ease while you do it. I'm excited for the combo today. We are going to talk about trust, self-trust. We're going to talk about intuition, how to hone that, how to really dial it up if you need a little help. I'm excited to talk about action steps because I'm really big on, like, how can we do this today if this is our first time hearing about the inner voice or how to trust yourself, especially if you've been given evidence not to, or if you've been told not to, or that you should look outside of yourself. So I'm very excited to talk with you all today, and I'm so happy to be part of this loving feminine circle that we are enjoying today.
Yes, and I'm Kelsey, by the way. That's the third voice you're hearing.
Kelsey.
My name's
Self-love
Kelsey Aida,
guru.
like the opera, and I write books on manifestation, affirmations, self-love, here to help you just heal and live your best life and align and be abundant. So yeah, we all have very similar missions, but like our own special flavor and medicine to it, which I'm so excited and here for. And I think this is going to be a really dynamic conversation no matter where you're tuning in from. And if you're tuning in from the other podcast, make sure to listen to the other one because I think you guys will love, because they're very overlapping in topics and themes. So,
and who doesn't need more of this anyway? Like, if you already listened to one, just add another one. It's better that way.
I love podcasts. I think podcasting is so intimate and such a cool way to converse with people energetically, even maybe if you're not in that room. It's like you are in the room, and to just receive the downloads. And if you hear one, perspective that really lands for you, it can like change your whole life. Like, remember that one time I heard that one thing on that one podcast, and now I just operate so much better. So we're excited. All that to say, we're excited.
Yeah, so where do we start? Let's go. I'm ready. Where do we start?
I'm going to say, let's start with, like, Amy and I were talking about this before we hopped on the call. Like, right now, it's kind of like crazy times for a lot of people. A lot of people are going through big changes, big initiations. And I think that's invitation for more self-trust. So maybe we can talk about like, what does it look like if you actually do trust yourself? And if you're not trusting yourself during like this uncertain time, or if you're going through a lot of changes, how can we trust ourselves more? And I want to open up the roundtable first to Amy on this one.
Mm. Yeah, I love this topic. And I think specifically for women in my community, this is such a big conversation. And I put a poll on my Instagram stories the other day to really tune into like, what is my community wanting and needing right now? And self-trust was a really big one. That was like the highest rated one. So I'm glad that we're having this conversation. And this was a really big one for me too. You mentioned uncertainty. And our ego really doesn't like uncertainty and doesn't like the unknown. So often what we'll do is we'll cling on to what feels safe, what feels familiar, and what feels quote unquote normal, right? Like what's acceptable to society, what's acceptable to my family, what did I grow up learning was the right or wrong thing to do, and then basing my decisions off of that. And in my experience, even though I did have a relatively good upbringing, I got to kind of that place of, you might call it quarter life crisis or my first spiritual awakening, where I realized that a lot of the decisions that I was making were leading me further and further away from what actually felt right for me and what felt true for me. And at that time, I had no idea what intuition meant. I had no idea, like, what was my truth? What were my values? What did I want out of my life? And I was really living in this, I would say, like, good girl or people pleaser mentality of, oh, what would make other people happy with me? Or how can I avoid making decisions that disappoint other people? Right. And when we do that, we're technically self-abandoning and we are eroding trust with ourselves. So, when there's uncertainty, that is the time, like you shared, where we do it's an opportunity to see, oh, like, how can I deepen my inner knowing of what's right for me, regardless of what's going on outside of me? And that's kind of, how I would love to intro this conversation.
Kelsey, you better go because I have so many derailments, but they're so good. They're not really derailments, but I want you to speak your piece so that we can.
Lynnsey's the queen of derailing, so we'll get there in a second.
It's not a derailing. It's part of it, but it's so
topics.
It's important. It's important. Go on.
Yeah, I mean, self-trust, I think you explained it beautifully. It's like the difference between before you were asking the wrong questions, that not the wrong questions, but questions that you were taught to ask that ultimately didn't benefit you at your core because you were just trying to people please, you were trying to not rock the boat, maybe trying to make your parents happy or your spouse or whoever. And it's like, yeah, it's well intended and you want to be accepted and loved, of course, but I promise you, the people who really love you for you, ultimately at the end of the day, their opinions of what they think is best for you is because they think that that is what's going to make you happy, right? So it's like if you just do what actually makes you happy and you become happy, like the right people will be happy for you and they will respect that and they will honor that, So I think putting too much weight on other people's thoughts and opinions when it's your life is a very dangerous, slippery slope. And women are conditioned to do that from a young age, which is sad. But that's why you have people like us to talk about it and be like, no, you don't have to live like that. There's nothing wrong with and everything amazing with thinking of yourself and being not self-centered in a narcissistic way where you're disregarding people's well-being, but being more self-caring, being more self-integrated, being more self-centered in the way of, this is my life. I'm going to take responsibility for my happiness, my peace. What do I feel is going to nourish me the most? And then living from that question versus how can I, not shake it up or not rock the boat or not be uncomfortable, because that is a trap that will keep you trapped for a long time, as I'm sure it sounds like you experienced, Amy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is so perfect and so beautiful that Amy's here and Kelsey's here. I feel like you guys are so, so similar. Obviously, we can't know how similar, but I think just based on what I know about, the little I know about you, Amy and Kelsey, you both have a similar place of perspective. And I think it's so cool that you are here representing the people pleasers, maybe the people that are trying to step out of that. And I'm here to represent the toxically independent girlies who were taught they couldn't trust anybody around them. And so they had to carry everything. And I've done a lot of work around letting some things go, delegating, asking for help. And I know that the self-trust piece, I don't know that I've ever struggled with it, because I'm always like, I'm just gonna do it, okay? You failed. I'm gonna do it now, and I'm gonna do it better than any of you guys. And I get it, that's not super healthy, but I'm working on it. And then also, I think that it's important that people hear that you could people please and learn from that. You could be the toxic independent kind and learn from that. But I think the message here is eventually you will come to a point where you will, I think it's inevitable for most, embrace who you are, because everything else is exhausting. It's exhausting, okay? It's not worth it. It's exhausting. And you have been here all along, watching you do all of these things, watching you go through all these things and experience all these things. You're the only one that's been with you this whole time. You're the only one that knows you like this. And so I just think it's a beautiful moment when you can come to that space of like, maybe I did know all along. Maybe I was right. Maybe I can be happy and joyful. Maybe I can choose this because it just makes me happy and for no other reason. Anyway, the whole point is I'm really glad that we have all these different perspectives, because there's so many different walks of life. And I think it's me and Kelsey, we've said forever that we are kind of a yin and yang, because sometimes we're so similar and sometimes we could not be more opposite. And I think you need that sort of thing when you're talking to large groups of people. And so whatever path you're on, I just hope that you listen to what we have to say, because it's better over here, guys. It's better. It's so much more fun over here when you can trust yourself.
Like, I hope you listen, and that's my TED Talk. Oh my gosh. I was
because because listen, you could do it the hard way. We've done it the hard way. People listening are probably doing it the hard way. And this is just, it's easier.
Well, that was actually going to be my next question. Like, do you ladies feel like it's easier or harder to trust yourself? Because I feel like some people might say, oh, it's so hard to trust yourself. But I'm thinking like, it's really hard not to trust yourself.
It's hard not to.
That is not sustainable.
Well, it's hard to trust yourself in the beginning when you're not used to it. And when you don't know what the voice sounds like.
Right.
Like, who's that? Wait, what?
I think when you're not trusting yourself too, to me, there's like always this background noise of doubting or questioning. And it's like, oh, did I say the wrong thing? Did I do the wrong thing? Did I make the wrong decision? Or constantly going back and forth. Like, a lot of people do this like pros and cons list, which is very much, it is a more masculine decision making, very logical way of making decisions. And the work that I do with my clients is helping them to get in touch with their deeper truth of like that, like both of you have mentioned, that inner voice, that deeper listening of, ooh, in my body, what feels right to me? Does this decision feel expansive and inspiring? And do I feel lit up by it? Even if it feels scary, like when I think about, oh, starting my own business, or, maybe ending this relationship because it's no longer in alignment for me, or moving to a new city. Kelsey and I were just talking about before this that we both moved from California to, I'm in North Carolina, she's in South Carolina. Lynnsey, you just moved back to Michigan. So that's a big example of like, oh, can I trust myself that I'm making the decision that is most in alignment for me right now as this version of myself? And so for me, that deeper listening and getting out of the mind of the shoulds, shouldn'ts, pros, cons, right and wrong, coming into the body and being like, ooh, what does this feel like? And that takes time to develop that deeper connection with that inner voice, because often it is this quiet whisper. And if we're so busy rushing from thing to thing or focusing on what would make other people happy, we can't actually hear that. So some of the practices that I teach and that I support my clients with, and that I've written about in my book, The Feminine Way, is all about creating these daily devotion practices and rituals where you're taking time each day to slow down and listen to that inner voice, to connect with yourself and be like, what am I feeling inside of me right now?
Hey there, it's Lynnsey. Are you ready to transform your life and achieve your biggest dreams? Well, welcome to the Align Your Mind membership. As a seasoned hypnotherapist, I've crafted a digital sanctuary where you can access powerful hypnotherapy audios anytime, anywhere. Imagine waking up each day feeling empowered, confident, connected to the universe, and ready to conquer your goals. With AYM, you'll experience deep, long-lasting transformations in every area of your life. If you're ready to rewire your mind, release what's holding you back, and start living your dreams, don't wait any longer. Just click the link in the episode description and start embodying your highest potential today. I do want to talk about this more because literally yesterday I had a question. I was doing a podcast interview and somebody said, so what can people start doing now if they want to listen to themselves more? I said, sit down and be quiet. We don't do that. We really don't. I'm really not the best at it, but I do make a point to sit down and be quiet at some point in the day. Sometimes if it's easier for you, do it in the morning. Do it right before you go to bed. You can do this. It's so hard for us because we have constant message units in our face all day. We have information coming at us from all directions. We have our brains going a mile a minute. And so for me, the best way is just try to sit down and be quiet for 30 seconds. And if you can do it for 30 seconds, you can do it for 60. And if you can do it for 60, try 90 the next day. It can be a gradual process, but it doesn't have to be hard. And I just think it sounds so easy, but it's one of the hardest things for us to do because we're just not told that it's important. We're not told how to do it. We're not told to even waste our time on it. Don't do that. Go do this. Go buy this. Go have this relationship. Go eat this food. And no, sit down and be quiet. And now I'm going to sit down and be quiet.
How many women or just people in general who are if you ask them what do you want to eat? They're I don't know. They can't even make that. Or it's what do you want? Right. Or looking for what other people would prefer. And it's yeah, even that question's so interesting. And that's a small way that I like to develop self-trust is starting to ask yourself the question on decisions that have low risk, where it's oh, what do I feel like eating versus what should I eat based on the diet that I'm on or what other people think is healthy. It's what does my body need right now? Yeah, Kelsey, I'd love to hear, some of your ways that you tune into your intuition and your inner voice and what's helped you the most.
Yeah, I think it's kind of hard for me to put it into practice because I've always kind of been a rebel in the sense of for example, growing up oh, it's cool to drink and get tattoos and do all this stuff. And I'm no, it's cool not to. Get on my level, that type of thing. Or for example, my story is instead of going to college, which all my counselors tried to pressure me into doing because I was really smart and I got great grades and I could have gotten a bunch of scholarships, which I did apply for and receive some. But there was nothing that was calling me to university that I would apply to my life. I love studying. I'm a 5'1". I'm all about inhuman design. I'm all about the investigator, studying. Love it. Could do it to death. But it's everything I wanted to study didn't make sense for what I wanted to practice and do in the world. I just wanted to be creative and expressive. And I had just been injured, training my whole life to be a dancer. So I couldn't do that. But lo and behold, also my whole life, I was beautifying everyone around me, doing their hair and makeup, helping everyone look cute, feel good, be confident. And I just had a natural inclination towards that. So when it came time to go to college, which was the right, correct way, I was no, I'm not feeling it. I don't care if that's the American dream. It's just not for me. And luckily I had parents who were supportive enough to be Kelsey, you're really gifted at cosmetology. Why don't you just go to beauty school and try it? It's only a year. If you hate it, you can study something else. And I was you know what? You're right. I'll just give it a try. And so I went the unconventional path. None of my counselors respected me for it. In fact, at graduation, they were oh, who's going to this university? Yay, clap, clap, clap. Who's going here? Clap, clap, clap. Okay, and everyone going to trade school. Moving on, next thing. They were so looking down on that. You only did that if you were a teenage mom or not smart enough to go to college. So it was interesting. And just in doing that and going the rebel way and choosing that path for myself and then going on to have an amazingly wildly successful career as a hairstylist, it just taught me that you don't need to listen to what everyone else says is the way. And your way is the way. What your body and soul is calling you to do will work for you. There is no one system or method or step by step. But like now in the day to day, Lynnsey's advice, amazing. Like take 5 minutes to be with yourself without any distractions or noise, and kind of like turning off all the tabs in your brain to just like come home to yourself is a very nourishing practice. But like for me, I'm a big self-inquiry person. So I like to ask myself, like similar to what you were saying, Amy, like, what would be most nourishing for me today? Or like even in this moment, like what would be most nourishing? Should I go to the gym, or should I go to Pilates, or should I call my friend? Or like, just tuning into those subtle nuances of your body and your excitement and what lights you up, I think is a really practical way to start implementing. And then you just get more and more familiar with yourself and what you like and you don't like and your preferences and your desires. And then I think honoring your preferences and desires with boundaries and with acting on them is a huge part of living a really self-trustful life. And then I'll also say, just to wrap it up, like one of my favorite self-trust hacks is just pick something low stakes, like you were saying, Amy, and promise yourself you're going to do it, and then do it. And then you will trust yourself because you will be a higher integrity person. If you say, okay, today I'm going to drink 2 more glasses of water than I normally do. This is very low stakes. You're already dehydrated. Who cares? So it's like, okay, today I'm going to do that. And then if you actually do it, you're like, wow, look at me. I kept my word to myself. And then you just keep doing that day in, day out with more and more important things. And you will build that self-trust, and it will manifest as confidence, security, trusting that no matter what, like you have your own best interest at heart.
Mm-hmm.
I got to jump in and just say one more thing. You also, humans of the world, know more than you think you do. You can say, I don't know, but you know. Oh, my dad used to make me so mad. He's a big hippie. And so whenever we'd have talks, it's important because he's just this kind of person. He's like super flower child. But we'd have talks as a teenager. I had my dad, and that was it. I didn't have like a female to talk to. So I was like, Dad, I don't know what to do. And he would always say, yes, you do. I'm like, stop saying that. I don't know. And I'm like 15, just raging out. And he's like, you do, And I know now what he was trying to say, but he was so annoying. And now I'm saying it. Guys, So when you sit and you ask yourselves questions, by the way, when you ask a question, your brain's going to start, it's just the way we work. It's going to start looking for the answer. And usually it's going to come up somewhere and you'll feel it and you'll be like, oh, is that it? Is that the thing? I don't know. Maybe I should analyze it for 45 minutes and see. But maybe you just go with it and see what happens. It's just an experiment. Like this whole thing is just an experiment. So why not have fun with it? Get curious. Be an explorer in your own mind and psyche and emotions, and try not to judge yourself too much while you're doing it. But you can discover some major cool things about yourself. And we always say, like, if you don't love yourself right now, it's probably because you don't know yourself that well. How cool is that you get to go have a love affair with yourself and get to know yourself a little better? I just think it's so cool.
Amy, what do you think about when people say they don't know what they want? Do you buy it, or do you think it's like kind of a cop out because if they did know, then they might have to like change something? That's what I think.
Totally. Yeah. A lot of it is, oh, I'm afraid to be honest with myself of what I do know, because if I am honest with myself, then like you said, it might mean that something big has to change, and I think it's Tony Robbins that says this, that if you tell your brain that you don't know, it can't look for the answers.
Yep.
Right. And
that's
so
a statement of belief. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is a very classic lack of self-trust or a self-doubt statement. So if you find yourself saying, I don't know, that's okay. You can say, oh, if I did know the answer, what might it be? Right. And
absolutely,
then your brain can start to look for it. And something else, Lynnsey, that I really like that you said is, especially for women who are high achievers and perfectionists, we want to get it right. And if we're coming from that space of, I don't want to fuck it up, I don't want to get it wrong, what if I make the wrong decision? Then we're either not going to make choices, or we're going to be hard on ourselves and question ourselves after we make it. So the shift is in the lens with which we're making the decisions, which is, can I come to this from a place of curiosity and exploration? rather than right or wrong. And the truth is, this is what I believe, is that we can't mess it up. We will always be redirected. So you might make a decision and then you go down that path and you learn something. You didn't fail. You didn't get it wrong. You learn something. You're like, oh, that actually isn't right for me, but I had to try it. I had to explore that to know if it was right or wrong for me. So, Kelsey, you're talking about going to trade school. Okay, I'm deciding not to go to college right now. I'm going to trade school. Maybe it's the right decision. Maybe it's not. You go, you get an experience, and then you're like, oh, yeah, I want to continue pursuing this path, right? Now, in my story and my circumstances, how I, came to learning about self-trust was through not trusting myself and through getting into really creating a whole life where I was married in my mid-20s. We bought a house together. I was like doing the white picket fence life, which, no offense, if people are happy with that, great. And
I literally have a white picket fence outside.
Yeah, it's great if you choose that, right? Like I bought a house now and I love my house and I love being here. At that time, that wasn't the right relationship or environment for me to thrive. And so I was really struggling with depression, with anxiety, and I was constantly questioning myself, like, why can't I be happy? Why can't I just be grateful? And almost gaslighting my truth of just be like, you should just be happy.
Right. Force it.
You think the grass is always greener on the other side. You think like another relationship will be better for you. Like, and it took a lot of that deep self-inquiry to be like, okay, am I going to keep trying to make other people happy at the expense of my own happiness? And like, who is Amy? What does she want? What is she like? What feels right for her? And in that case, that is a big decision where you're like, oh, what if I mess this up? Right. And so if you're in a space where you are making a big decision, maybe it's to leave a job that you've been at for years, or you've been in a relationship for years, those are really big decisions. And I would invite you to really know that you don't have to make a decision right away. And that those deeper decisions, they require a lot of like self-discovery and self-excavation and a lot of deep inquiry to get to your truth. Maybe you know your truth, but you're afraid to follow it. And so that's the place where you start to build your confidence and build self-trust in other areas. You build that self-love. And then eventually, honestly, the pain of staying where you are gets louder than the fear of making the change. And that's where you take the leap.
That's also how you know it's probably the right thing to do, because you're not supposed to be that uncomfortable. You're supposed to move into your comfort. It's so funny hearing you talk about, Kelsey and Amy talk about your stories, because it's very similar to mine. I was 19 and I had just read Journey of Souls by Michael Newton like a few months prior. And I was like, this is everything I ever wanted to know about life and existence. And I'm so excited. I'm going to California. It was a domino effect of me opening a door and getting a nudge and being like, oh, that's what that is. I'm going, guys. Bye. And everyone's like, no, you're not. Yeah, I'm going. I'm actually, my flight's at 4:30, so see you later. By myself, moved across the country to LA, stayed there for 12 years, found my husband, had a couple kids, came back, brought him to Michigan. That's a very short, abridged version, but it didn't happen until I had my first kid in 2012, when I was like, what do I want to do with my life? Because I knew hypnotherapy was a thing, but I also knew LA was expensive. And so I just got a job, right? You just get a job because you have to survive. I'm not going to be one of those people that moves back home after a couple months because I can't make it. I'm going to make it. I'm also in Aries and Sag rising, so lots of leap and then the net appears. That's kind of my vibe. So that's kind of what happened. But I asked myself, like, what do you want to do? I don't want to go back to doing some kind of retail job. I want to be with my kid. And I'd never really cared or asked or wondered what I wanted to do with my life. But I had planted a seed before I moved to California with that book. And so hypnotherapy came screaming back to me immediately. And then, of course, there was that, go get a real job. You're a mom now. You have to be responsible. What are you talking about? And I listened for a second, and then I thought, but why can't I though? Because everybody who's done anything cool has to answer this question, right? Why can't I? And I was like, I don't really have a good reason for that. So what if I just made a call? And that's how it can look. You don't have to do the entire, I mean, I have done both, but with hypnotherapy in particular, I knew I wanted to make it happen, but I didn't know how, and I was scared because I was supposed to be making money, and what I ended up doing was getting a student loan instead to study this new art form that I love to do. So it can look like, what if I just took a baby step in the direction and see how that feels? What if I just took another baby step and then another, and then before you knew it, I was enrolled and I had a lot of debt. But but it was the right thing. It feels the same as when you move across the country. You're excited and afraid, but the excitement is expansive, right? It's more expansive than a contracting fear of like, this is going to hurt me. It's more like, this is scary, but I'm doing it. It's the same thing I felt when I became a mom. It's the same thing you feel when you get married. It's the same when you start a business. It's that feeling of, holy crap, I'm about to step into an amazing next version of myself. I don't know what that's going to look like, and I'm nervous, but I know that it's the right next step. And you will always know it's the right next step. You might have to feel into it for a while, but I think you'll know. Doesn't mean you won't be scared.
Did you know that this show is 100% self-produced and made possible by listener support? If you love the show and want to help us keep bringing you all the good stuff, join our Patreon. Your support helps us cover editing, software, and everything we need to keep this podcast going and growing strong.
As a Patreon member, you'll unlock amazing perks like early access to every episode, extended video content, behind-the-scenes footage, and more. And the best part, if you're one of the next 100 people to join, you'll get our exclusive manifestation toolkit valued at over $100 as soon as we hit our goal of 100 patrons. Head to patreon.com/highvibe to join, and we'll see you inside. I want to add something here that you ladies both pointed out so beautifully about like hitting the pain threshold and letting that move you, because I was literally writing about this yesterday on my Substack. I don't know if you guys are on Substack, but I'm loving it. It's so cool. And I started this column on there called Aligned and Abundant. So of course I was like, okay, filling into the energies, what I want to write about. And I was like, we need to just write about how it's okay that it hurts to be somewhere you're not supposed to be anymore. Because I remember I had this, so going back to my cosmetology journey, this all comes full circle. For a while, I've been feeling the call to make plans to step out and just be more of a, not even full-time author because I don't want to work full-time, but just step more into my authorhood and healing and coaching. And so I've been like, you know, should I stay? Should I go? 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Like it feels like I did it and it's like done, like it's expired for me. And I was reflecting on it one day in the break room at the salon, and like life just whispered to me like, it's meant to be painful. Like there's a reason that you're in pain because you're staying too long. It's supposed to hurt to light a fire under your ass to move you to the next thing, to your next decision or chapter or whatever you're going to embrace next. So if you are in that pain of the in-between and you're coming up to your pain threshold, don't be scared. It's designed like that. It's designed to like squeeze you out of that relationship or home or job into the next chapter that is more in alignment for you. Even if you don't know exactly what that looks like or if you'll be any good at it or anything like that, like it's supposed to hurt. It's okay.
Yeah, I think that especially in the spiritual space and maybe like modern spirituality, new age spirituality, there's this idea that it should all be light and love. And if you're like, it should be easy. Everything should be easy. And really, like the biggest breakthroughs happen when we reach these pain thresholds or these dark nights of the soul and these choice points where it's like, I can't keep going on like this anymore. And like you said, that is the fire that has us make different decisions, even though they feel scary, because if it doesn't feel that bad, you're probably going to stay for longer. And I love what you talked about, Kelsey. It's like staying past the expiration point. It becomes more and more painful because like you knew a few months ago, or you knew a couple years ago, and then you stayed and you stayed and you stayed. And that's okay. And what I've found is that as I've developed more self-trust and more connection to my body and the sensations of my body through embodiment work, the sooner that pain starts to come up and I feel it faster and I respond to it faster because I've been there before. I have practice in this. I know what happens when I stay for too long. I know what happens on the other side of making scary decisions, that everything works out and it's even better than I anticipate it would be. So you get better at it. I once had a woman on my podcast say, like, we get better at dying and being reborn. Like, we just get better at it. It's not painful. It's still painful, but we get better at it. Yeah. There was one other piece around self-trust that people ask a lot, and I'd love to hear your perspectives on it. And Lynnsey, especially from like the hypnosis and subconscious side of things, a lot of times we tend to like repeat the same patterns over and over. And then we develop this belief like, oh, I can't trust myself because I made a bad decision in the past. Or I keep saying I'm going to start my business, or saying I'm going to show up for my exercise, but I don't do it. So we build this like evidence, oh, I can't, or I'm not good at that, or I can't figure this out. I can't have this breakthrough. So I'd love to hear your ladies' perspective on that, because I know that that's a hard place to be. I used to be like that when I wanted to take action, and I would say that I wanted to, but then I didn't. And then I would have all these like negative self-talk and these beliefs that it wasn't possible for me.
I got so many thoughts. I do. I have so many thoughts. I'm trying to figure out the best one to start with. So what I want to say first is something we talk about a lot as well, which is you could call it your subconscious, you can call it your ego, you could call it whatever you want to call it. It's never trying to hurt you. It's never trying to sabotage you. It's never trying to keep you in loops. And I know you ladies knows, but for those that need to hear it, it does not want to hurt you. It doesn't hate you. It just has things, outdated probably, expired probably. Your subconscious does not know expiration dates. It doesn't know fantasy from reality. It doesn't know that you're joking when you say, oh, I'm such a ditz. Don't do that stuff, because it will be like, okay, check. Oh, you can't do that? Okay, cool. Got it. You can't be in a relationship? Cool. You're too needy. Yeah, there are no men available. Got it. Yep. Lack, scarcity? Cool. Got that too. So every time you say these things, and I know I'm being dramatic, but it really is that true. Your voice is the most powerful thing on this planet. It really is, to yourself. There is no one that is more powerful than your own voice. And so when you're saying, and I get it, you see things around you and you draw conclusions. That's how we're built. But what if you didn't? What if you tried to step out of the easy, well-beaten path of repeating the same thing over and over and over again? And once you start to notice it, you'll never stop noticing it. And once I say you're going to notice it, you're going to start to notice it. Where you come to these forks in the road where it's like, I could just do the same thing I've always done, or I could think something different. What if I thought, maybe I could do it. Maybe this time will be different. Maybe at this point in human history, we've never had so many resources at our fingertips to change. And I can use any of those resources right now. And no one's going to change overnight, but these are the little things you can start to do. Start with your inner voice, please. Please, please, please. I'm begging. Notice what you're saying. Notice what you're thinking. Notice the repeating thoughts that are literally true to your subconscious. And then ask, does this have to be true? Is this actually true? What feels better to me? What's a better feeling thought? What would I like to believe? And just play with that. Again, get curious. It has to change there. It has to start there, because that's the dialogue that you're using. So when you say like, I can't do this, or, there's no good relationship out there for me, just imagine your subconscious with a clipboard saying, okay, check. So that when you say, maybe there is a good relationship, maybe I can do it, your subconscious goes, what? That's not what you usually say. What are you saying? And you might have to repeat it a few more times, but then it'll start to go, oh, okay, all right, check, got it. It's just, it has to start with your voice. And that is just how we work. So what you're saying to yourself is true. No matter what it is, it's true, because you're teaching your subconscious every day. And you have been your whole life, so.
I have so much compassion for people who feel like they can't trust themselves, because despite all my other stories, this is a different story of how I met my twin flame fiasco situation. Mm-hmm. And that was like the most toxic love struggle buzz of my life. And
Codename Voldemort.
I was broken after that relationship. And I genuinely felt like I don't pick good men for me. I pick abusive people. I pick people who take advantage of my kindness and my nice heart. Like, I can't spot danger, right? So I just didn't trust myself. And funnily enough, right after that relationship, I finally met my husband, and now we're married, and it's awesome. But there was definitely a point where I was like, I don't trust myself. But what I want to say to that version of me and to anyone going through that is like, I want to give them tough love and shake them and be like, girl, saying you'll never trust yourself or that you can't trust yourself is like a baby saying they'll never walk and they don't trust that they can just because they haven't yet. When in 3 weeks from now, you're going to be running around the house, making your mom chase you, and you will never not walk again. Because once you learn how to trust yourself, that sticks. Okay. This isn't like, it's like a power that you step into, but you don't really step out of, I feel like. And you step into
remember
it,
it.
and it gets stronger and powerful, and you get better at it and faster at it, like how you were talking about, Amy. So it's like, to say that you can't or you won't is just not true, but you're making it true in your mind and in your life because your subconscious is going to play it out and prove it to be true to you, which is to Lynnsey's point. So I just want to give that tough love to anyone who's out there. It's like what I always tell people when they're manifesting their dreams. Like, if you make it mean like that it's never going to happen just because it hasn't happened yet, that's just so silly and not how things work. Change is inevitable. Growth is inevitable. Like, you can trust yourself and you have to be slow and gentle with yourself in that journey. So practically speaking, what I did after I dated that poopy head loser guy who ruined my life. Yes, we don't say his real name. Then I was like, okay, I don't know if I can trust myself. Like, how am I going to pick a good man after I just picked that guy who I thought was good, but then he was crazy? And so I was like, I'm going to go slow. I'm going to put a boundary. When I meet someone, I'm going to say, hey, I'm not committing to you no matter how amazing you seem until at least I've known you for about 6 months and I have more information so that I can make a good decision for myself. And my husband was like, totally respectable. I'll be here as long as you want. I'm not going anywhere. I don't need a title right away. And he helped me. And I think that true healing is knowing what you need and then going for it, even if it seems scary, because we really fully heal once we experience the opposite of what hurt us. And
Yes.
what hurt me was an unhealthy relationship that I kind of fell for. But what healed me was going for it again and it working out. So you
100%.
have to try again.
Yeah, I love both of those shares so much. And yeah, it is the difference between having a fixed mindset where it's like, oh, it hasn't worked out yet, so it's not going to work out. And I have all this evidence that it's not going to work, versus the growth mindset, which is like, I'm a growing and evolving human, and every experience that hasn't worked out, I've learned something from it. And it is possible for me to change. It is possible for me to have new experiences, to get new results in my life. And I think inevitably we all fall into a fixed mindset at different times. Like, it's not
Yeah.
like, oh, I never have these thoughts of like, oh, can I
Right.
really, especially in business, it's like, oh, can I really change? I had this experience, this super sneaky subconscious voice last year when I was going through an interesting season in my business that started telling me like, oh, no one's working with coaches anymore. Oh, the industry's too saturated. Oh, like, no, the economy is down because of inflation, so people aren't investing. And you want to know what happened? My business really struggled because that sneaky voice was in there, right? And once I was able to identify it and bring awareness to it and be like, oh, that's what's been running the show, similar to what Lynnsey said, like, is that what I want to believe? What do I want to believe? What beliefs are aligned with what I want to create, with what I want to be true? And started to shift that, everything changed. So it shows up in so many different places. And I just want to share, like, it's not about being perfect. And it's not like you arrive there one day and you're like, cool, I never have these thoughts anymore. But I do think that we're able to find them faster, right? And then to know, oh, what do I do when I notice that I'm thinking that way or feeling that way, where I'm having doubt, when I'm having fear, when I'm in scarcity? How can I come back to my center and my truth?
Yeah. And did you know, people listening, not the host, because they know, did you know that you cannot experience the same thing twice? You cannot experience the same experience twice, because no matter what, if you've experienced it once, you changed. Now, whether you fall into the same experience again, what it looks like, it's still not the same experience, because you are not the same person. Even on a physical level, we regenerate our cells. Everything's different about me than when I was 7 years prior to this. Like, every 7 years, you are biologically a different thing. It's so cool. Like, you can't. So if you think you're falling into these patterns, you're really not. So get out of that mindset. And then also, what you just demonstrated so beautifully, and girl, same, by the way. But what you just demonstrated is that your reality shifts constantly around what you believe. It's doing it whether you want it to or not. So why not play and say, what if, I just posted something yesterday on my Instagram. If we're going to play the what if game, what if it works out perfectly? What if it works out so much better than you thought? What if you could do it? What if you did know? What if, instead of, what if I never get another client in my entire life? That's not a thought I've ever had in my whole life, but just saying. Just kidding. I have them all the time. But I just think it's so important, like, to know you're never going through the same thing twice. So every experience can be a new one and is a new one. How are you going to make this a new experience? And it usually starts with your beliefs. And watch your reality shift around you when you can start to hope for a change, when you can start to open the door to possibility. You don't have to be a full-blown believer that you're the best creator that's ever existed yet. All you have to do is crack open the door that maybe you're not the worst. Maybe you have more power than you thought. And there's so many people listening to this today that need to hear all of this, and I'm just here for it. I'm so excited for this. This is a good one, guys.
Yes. I feel like there's been so many just like mic drop magical moments. I had something that came to me when you guys were speaking, and it reminds me of what I teach when I'm helping women to love themselves. And it's really just that self-trust comes down to consistently having your own best interests and well-being in mind when you make decisions, right? Because it's like you trust your partner who always thinks about you and what's best for you before they make a decision that's going to affect the relationship, right? Or like we don't trust the government, broadly speaking, because we don't trust that they have our best interests in mind and do things that are actually for our well-being and best interest. So it's like if you can just apply the way that you love your dog or your spouse or your sister or your mom, the way that you consider them and think of them before you make a decision, you can do that for yourself. And that's how you will build self-trust. It's really like that simple. That's the most beautiful, simple way I can say is like take accountability and responsibility for your own well-being, and you will inevitably build that self-trust.
I love how it's just so obvious and so hard at the same time. Like, what a concept. Trust yourself and love yourself. Think of yourself when you make decisions. Yeah. Wow.
Easier said than done, obviously.
It's just so hard sometimes.
In theory.
Yeah. Exactly.
Do you think that even just through this podcast and through us each individually doing our work, including the listeners, like as you continue to do your work, it really creates a new culture that is oriented around self-love and self-trust, because most of us didn't grow up with parents or grandparents who operated this way. We didn't grow up around women who prioritized themselves or who made decisions that were in their best interest. There was so much self-sacrifice and self-abandonment, and they were doing the best that they could. And so I really love these types of conversations and getting together with women who have similar ideas and similar perspectives. And this ends up becoming the new norm, especially when you decide to start surrounding yourself in environments that are high vibrational, that are supportive, that want the best for you, not that they want what they think is best for you, right? And so, yeah, my intention and what I'm seeing in this conversation is like, this gets to be the new way of operating. And if you need to listen to this podcast over and over again and take notes and come back to it, there were so many beautiful pieces of like mindset and energetic shifts that you can start making and start implementing right away. And, you have real life examples here of women who are walking this path, and we're all on it together. Maybe we've started sooner or had more practice, but some things, challenges to get to where we are today. So yeah, I've really loved this conversation, and I feel like there's so much here that
If I may, before I have one more thing.
Give it to us.
I think it's also very important to say that this is, for the most part, as a generational thing that we're doing here, it's pretty uncharted. This, as you said, our mothers, our grandmothers, the people that came before us, they would never. What do you mean? What are you talking about? This is so new, and we're the first wave, I think, as in history as we know it, who is giving ourselves permission to navigate this, because no one was asking questions behind us. We are the first ones to be like, that doesn't make sense. I don't like that. I'm changing it. And I think that's so important to know, that if you're listening to this and you feel this, like, no one knows what they're doing. We're just trying the best we can. And you are invited to join us in this uncharted journey to love yourself and trust yourself, because you're allowed. Your parents may not have felt allowed, your grandparents and the generations before us, but you're allowed. So let's go.
Yes, I'm so fired up. Oh my gosh. Yay. I love talking about self-love and self-trust and taking good care of yourself, because I'm just of the belief that, like, if everyone took better care of themselves, the world would be just a much healthier place, and people would take better care of each other too. It blesses all parties involved. So yay. Oh my gosh, this has been such a fun conversation. Amy, we're definitely going to have to do this again and talk to you some more about more stuff. I can't wait to dive into your book, The Feminine Way, and listen to more episodes, even though I already have been listening to some of the Feminine Frequency podcast. So wherever you guys are listening to this, make sure you're subscribed to Feminine Frequency podcast, subscribe to High Vibin' It. In the show notes, we'll link to all of our offerings, and you can find Lynnsey's hypnotherapy app and Amy's mentoring services and my books and things like that. So we'll link to all of that in the show notes. And yeah, we just want to leave you with just a super loving vibration and just encourage you that you can do it and it's possible. And we're cheering for you and we're rooting for you. And we have so many more resources for you in the show notes, so you can continue this journey with us if it's resonating. Amy, do you want to leave people with anything else?
I think everything you shared is great, and would love to connect with our listeners on Instagram. I'm sure we'll drop that in the show notes so everyone can connect with us. And then I also have a free gift that I'd love to share with our listeners. It's a guided, empowered feminine morning ritual. So if you're wanting some guidance on how to listen to your inner voice and how to slow down and how to tune in, that's a free resource that I would love to share with you. So we'll drop that link in the show notes as well.
Beautiful. Lynnsey, any announcements?
I love you guys so much, and you can do it. Yeah, that's it. I mean, I got my app, so go check it out. I hope everybody's staying cool in the summer, and it's called Align Your Mind. Thank you for asking. It's called Align Your Mind. It's a hypnotherapy app. It's got EFT. I do card pulls. I do live events every month, and it used to be like a platform you'd go on your browser, and it was super clunky, but now it's like it's like a real one. It's like a real app. I'm so excited. So yeah, go check it out. It's really great. And you can get all my digital hypnotherapy audios and everything cool in there. And yeah, I echo what Amy said. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok. Come connect with us. We want to hear. I love to just encourage people to message us. Text us, message us. I want to know your experience. If you have any questions, if you need help or you need any follow-up, contact any of us. And we are so eager to help. I promise.
Yes. And as far as last announcement on my end, my Substack, gotta plug it. It's so fun. Even if you're not on Substack, like, download the app. It's really cool. Check it out. It's like, to me, it's like a slower, more nourishing, less like highlight reel social media, and it's more like essay and journaling focused. So it's like a lot of reading articles, or with the articles that I write, I turn them into like mini podcasts and I'll read them. So you can just listen to it, just like a little 5-minute transmission. So I'll link to that in the show notes for you guys, because I actually specifically the article I just wrote was very relevant to this conversation. So if you like this conversation, I'll link to that article so you can read it or listen to it. But yeah, we have so much love for you, so many resources for you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you're subscribed, and we will see you in the next episodes. Bye, everyone.